Good morning, everybody. It's actually afternoon, but it's my birthday. What can I say? It took me a little while to get this done. Reading through a bunch of Psalms again today. You see them in the title, all the ones that we're on to read today. And being king would have been a dangerous thing. And when I was a kid, I can remember reading through the Bible and just knowing that I'd never want to be king. It's a very dangerous occupation. And you'd always be questioning the loyalty of the people sitting around you. Can I trust these people? It's what David experienced. And it's the reason why David wanted to surround himself by righteous people. And he really grew those righteous people. You know, he took a bunch of guys that were considered riffraff, and they formed around him, and David rubbed off on them, and they became known as mighty men. It's pretty amazing stuff. But here we're reading through these Psalms, and we realize that David has just faced his son taking the kingdom away from him, his son not being loyal to him. And that would have been a hard thing. Maybe you might expect it from other people around you, but from your son, from your own flesh and blood, that's where the real surprise comes from. And so, we could look at the fact that David ran away and didn't defend the kingdom, and we may question that whole thing. But at the same time, David didn't want to raise a hand against his son. And we can question that. I have questioned that, but it doesn't matter. This is where David was, and you can only imagine the world of hate, of hurt that David ended up feeling because of this, and how it must have affected him. But we live in an ever-changing world around us. What can we depend on? Families split. Husband and wife have difficulties and end up not working it out and leaving each other. Children basically disown parents. It's hard to find anything that is solid and consistent. Even in churches, people get so hurt, and they're not willing to stay and work those things out. And so they end up going from church to church, and some churches just don't know how to deal with these sort of things, and just people are messy. That's how it is. Churches are messy, but there's just this instability all the time. But David knew that the only thing that he could count on is Yahweh. He was the one constant in his life. And we see it reflected in the Psalms. He turns to him for help. He runs to him for encouragement. The Lord is his strength. The joy of the Lord is his strength. And just comes out in the Psalms, his love affair with Yahweh, because Yahweh was the one he could count on, who would never change on him. And it should provoke us to ask the question, do we have that same kind of thing? Who do we run to when we're in trouble? Who is it that we can depend on? Who doesn't overwhelm us? Who stands by us? Who believes in us no matter what? Who's committed to love us no matter what we do? And the resounding answer to that is Jesus. Regardless of all the other benefits, his faithful love alone is a huge benefit to us. And can you accept that? Is that where you run? Is that where you turn to? And some people would think, well, yeah, but that's fine, but I like somebody who could talk to me. I like somebody who answers. But he answers. The problem is that there's not a lot of people who do training in hearing God's voice. We don't always understand how he's communicating to us. He gave us 5 senses so he could communicate to us. And a lot of us want to restrict him. We're only willing to hear in one way. And so we don't listen in all the ways that he communicates with us. So he wants an ongoing conversation with us. And I just encourage you in that. He's the one constant. Everything else in your life can change. Everything. It may not. There may be people in your life who are pretty consistent, but they can change. There is that potential, but our Father will never change. Our King will never change. The Holy Spirit will never change in our life. So those are the ones that we rely on and turn to. You guys have a blessed and wonderful day. Love you all, and talk to you later.